Okay, so we are teaching a little bit of body mechanics training here. This is going to be referencing the exercise that's referred to as the hip hinging exercise. You'd want to teach this long before you do any testing of ability, and this is just a good thing for people to learn in terms of having correct body mechanics. You're going to notice that Raj has the stick on her back here. That's touching her sacrum, her thoracic spine, and her head all at the same time. And I've already kind of taught her how to do this, so hopefully she already knows. But let's go ahead and practice stooping by doing a hip hinge. So, you know, when we talk about bending here, we don't want to bend at the spine, we want to bend at the hips. So by keeping that stick touching all three contact spots, she's learning this technique. It happens to be a very good exercise, and this is pretty much going to be a great thing to do no matter what you're coming into physical therapy for. So from there, we just make that more functional by combining it with either a stooping technique or a bending technique, and we're going to time this activity during the test part. And you always want to make sure they're standing by something they can put a hand on if they need to, but we're going to go ahead and time this. She's going to do 6 repetitions without the stick. She's only going to be using 1 pound weight, and we don't use more than that. It's almost a symbolic gesture, but she's going to be, when I say go, don't go yet, but when I say go, she's going to perform 6 repetitions, and I'm going to start my stopwatch right away, and then I will record how many seconds it takes her to complete all 6 repetitions. So let's go ahead and your start point will actually be the tabletop there. We've put that at waist high, and then your finish point will be will be the floor, and then just progressing back and forth there. And I'm going to have you count out loud for me, just because it makes it easier for me, the evaluator in this case. So when I say go, it's going to be ready, set, go, and you're going to be doing a bending, squatting activity, and then after that we'll show you some variations from that. And so again, when you do this, I want you to start with the weight. Let's have you start with the weight just kind of on the corner of the table there. There you go. So there you go, and just rest it on the corner of the table, or on the top of the table, whatever it takes. Yeah. Okay, so from there, that's your start point, and then we're going to go from there to the ground, back and forth. You got it. 1,
2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Perfect. And this is just a good time to talk about things that we talk about every day, and that is keeping the knees behind the toes, all of the body mechanics stuff, keeping the shoulder blades back, and just really working on body mechanics. Now, there may be people that have knee dysfunction that keeps them from doing that, and we would want to teach them a single leg deadlift, which is a great exercise anyway. So whether or not they have a knee issue, this is a good thing to practice, and it could also be evaluated this way. So now let's start slow, just so people know what a single leg deadlift is here. We're going to go ahead and stoop forward like that, and as you're training this, Raj, I'm going to have you try to keep your hips real square. Right now, your left ilia is wanting to rotate towards me. I'm going to have you try to keep a little bit squarer than that, and then go ahead and do another one of those. Excellent. And the way I like to train this activity is, if that weight is going down towards the floor 1 inch, then your foot that's going up should be going towards the ceiling at the same ratio. So if your head is moving down and your opposite foot is moving up equally, there you go. That tells me that it came from the hip. When I see the body going down, when I see the head going down, but I don't see the foot going up equally, then I know that happened at the spine, and I'm going to step in and make a correction. So very important that you have a 1-to-1 ratio there. That last one was super. Let's go ahead and do 6 of those and act like we're going to time you from that particular stance.
2,
And then no holding.
3, 4. I'll go 4.
Very good.
5.
Excellent.
And 6.
Good, and then I would take the time that it took to complete those, and keep in mind, because of this evaluation, her body mechanics do not have to be perfect. Most people are not going to have perfect body mechanics when they do this. When you look at a golfer getting a golf ball out of a golf hole, they don't have a perfect hip hinge. They might have a 50% hip hinge. And so the evaluation does not have to be perfect. But remember, this is not just about the evaluation. This is about teaching people how to do exercise correctly. So over half of what you're doing will very clearly involve exercise training, and that's what the person is really benefiting from. And by the way, that's what the insurance company is paying for as well. They're paying for therapeutic exercise. We just happen to be drawing some very useful numbers out of that therapeutic exercise.